Hi everyone, and thanks for joining us here on Radull Live. First and foremost, I need to say happy 6th birthday to Betika. Yes, Betika.com is 6 years old. And to celebrate, by the way, there's going to be 36 days of celebration, which began about a week and a half ago. And there's 36 million shillings to be won. Yes, Betika is giving away 1 million shillings every day from Monday through Saturday for 6 weeks. How about that? So make sure you go to Betika.com or any of the Betika social media handles and make sure you get your hands on that. Joining us today, though, let me get to the matters at hand, is an icon, a legend, a world champion. And how many of you can say you have a road in Nairobi named after you? Help me in welcoming Douglas Wakiihuri.
Thank
Habari
you,
yako,
Salama.
Wakiihuri.
Salama.
I've known you for such a long time. Almost 15, 20 years, but your career spans much, much longer than that, Douglas. Just to set the stage for these, my youth, who are like, who is Radull sitting with? Tell us a bit about yourself. And feel free to boast.
My name is Douglas Wakiihuri, and I was born in Mombasa in 1963. I don't know much about Mombasa. My mom used to work as a warden, prison warden. So we lived there. We came to Meru, where my basic running started. Working at Meru prison, I used to go to a primary school called the CCM. From Meru, we came to Langata Women Prison, where now I actually started running. And I went to Langata West Primary School. And 83, I was in Japan with only 19 years old.
80, some people here were never born. Were not even born, and most of the people watching were not even born. But that's, tell us about how you got into, how you decided, I'm going to do athletics professionally.
Basically, when we were in Meru, what used to happen is we used to have 1 hour for lunch, and it was 2 kilometers from school. So we used to actually compete among the boys, you know, who's bit fast, and then we walk back. So that would take us an hour running and going back, and that was the daily thing. So when I came to Nairobi in 1969, I now joined the Langata Women Prison team, and that just made it very easy for me to just find my path. Then after my uncle heard that I was also running, because you know Wilson Waigwa is my uncle, and he was a very good miler. He was in the University of Texas. He went there about in the 70s. He then said, look, if you run well, I will get you a scholarship to the US. Now you can imagine. That just blew me
America.
off. Unaenda America, unatoka hapa. You leave everybody here. But unfortunately, before now going to America, I met Mr. Kobayashi, who has been with us for quite a long time, even though he passed on last year. And he is the one actually now who now gave me the direction to go to Japan. When I met, or I heard about Mr. Kyoshi Nakamura, who was a very good coach. And for me, basically, it wasn't about coaching, wasn't about America, it was just about getting out of this country, knowing that I will perform and represent this country. And one of the reasons behind that was because of the negativities that other people look others upon, that they think they are better than others. You see, there's nobody who's better than anyone. And you have to balance that effort, courage, determination, whatever good positivity you have must come across. So some of us felt that they are better than us. And for me, that being denied being the best grew into me, and I wanted to prove to everyone that I'm going to the Olympics. I'm going to the Olympics. I don't care where, how, but I'll bring a medal.
Tell us about, go through your titles that you have won, just for people to know. Yeah.
So I get to Japan, I was 19 years old, and everybody goes crazy. It was about the time of the Bushman, the God must be crazy. So the newspaper next day said even the Bushman is running. I was running 1,500 meters.
You're representing Africa, not even Kenya.
And after that, me and my coach came up to the decision and said, okay, look, we are planning for the Olympics. I'm still 19 years old, so we are planning for the Olympics. And the coach said, look, the only best way to go about it is to do the marathon, because this other one, you're not fast enough. So we started planning that, and then I think in 1987 was the planned to go to the World Championship. If I ran in between 1 and 20, I'll automatically get an Olympic ticket. That was the plan. But God had his own plans, and I won the first medal for Kenya in 1987, which is this one here.
1987.
87. That was the first medal.
How many of you were
Kenya.
born?
And it is the first medal for the marathon for Kenya. And then, of course, then automatically...
That was at the World Championship?
The World Championship. I was a world champion at about 23 years old.
Guys, world champion. I want that to sink in. World champion.
And one of the best things about 87 was that the late President Moi actually was on the ground. In fact, when I was finished, he was just coming in. And I could see people going crazy trying to create space for him, but I just went and stood somewhere. I finished the race, I came, I saluted him. And it is a very special race because you do not get to win a race while your president is just coming into the arena. So 88, of course, I went to the Olympics, I got a silver. It was a very bitter silver because I wish I was just dying, and they said, why didn't I win a gold? But as God has planned.
But that's still so impressive, Douglas. I know what you mean. From world champion, you want Olympic gold.
You know, Olympic is not a place you go every time.
Yeah.
You have to be very blessed to get there twice or 3 times.
Yes.
And of course, that brought me to now London in 1989, which we saw the same 3 guys also again competing in London, which I won, becoming the first Kenyan athlete to win the London Marathon. After 89, I also now won the Commonwealth Games in 1990 in New Zealand. And again, it was the first gold for the Commonwealth Games for the marathon. The same year, I also won New York Marathon. And then after that one was 90, I got injured for 4 years. Then I came back and won the World Cup Marathon in Athens, Greece in 1995. But
you don't say. Eddie, I'm seeing the crew here is going, yes, guys, Douglas Wakiihuri is a legend.
Yeah.
He's a legend. So when you look at what athletes are achieving today and the opportunities, do you see yourself, maybe you're too humble to say this, I don't know, but do you see yourself as a trailblazer for what the athletes are able to do today, Kenyan athletes?
I think we are the pioneers, or rather I am one of the pioneers of the marathon. Until then, we had the beliefs or superstitions that marathon is the last door you open. And once you get there, you're going straight out home. That was a belief then when we were running the marathon. But for me, I saw an opportunity to open up. And I believe that all the athletes that have come through to Japan was through me because of what I did. And I believe we have seen the very best light of Kenyan running in the marathon. We have seen the likes of the late Wanjiru, the first gold medal for the Olympics. We have seen the likes of Paul Tergat, and of course now the Eliud Kipchoge who has done under 2 hours is basically because of us being the pioneer, especially myself and Ibrahim Hussein, who are basically the pioneers of breaking in through the hard wall.
Tell me about the influence of Japan, because you, earlier before we started the interview, you were on the phone and the cameraman was like, Allah, he's speaking Japanese. I'm like, yeah. Tell me about living in Japan and the influence of Japan on your career.
You know, I went to Japan when I was very young at 19 years old. I didn't know what to expect. I could not speak Japanese then. But I was very determined, if that is the platform that is going to make me a different person or win a medal for this country, because I'm very passionate about Kenya. What I did when I went to Japan, the culture was very different for me. And I had to make a decision on how to actually integrate. One of the decisions that I made was that I do not believe that you need 100% being a Kenyan in Japan. You only need 50%. So the other 50%, you clear it and be able to observe now the Japanese culture, 50% to make it 100. And I think that way of thinking is what got me through to break. And the other thing I did was to learn the language, because I had a coach and assistant coach. The assistant coach was translating the training that I'm supposed to do in English. But there came a time where he told me, no, you know what, I can't translate anymore. It just can't come from the horse's mouth.
You might be missing a bit of the message in the translation.
Yes, exactly. So what I did, I started learning Japanese, and basically I went to school at some point, But most of the Japanese that I learned was through the street Japanese. That is the best one you can learn because you interact with people. It is actual, it is real. You know, like Baba, the person who used to, cut my hair, was a very good person. So we used to be there and learn a bit, joke. Of course, you'll get all those jokes.
Here and there.
And then, of course, you learn how to eat with chopsticks. Because, we one of the things that we do when we enter a foreign environment, we stop and say we do not understand, we don't do this, it is not our thing. Well, when you start learning is now when you because to use a chopstick, for number one is you have to learn how to balance the chopstick itself. And then you now learn how to pick and balance, and everything now start coming smooth.
So there's an art and a discipline.
That's it. And of course the color. So all this come training, come understanding, come patience. Those are disciplines that you must acquire within the process of doing a marathon because it has its own stages. And it's not something that you're going to wake up one day and say, I'm going to run 42.195 kilometers and win it. So if you are talented, that is one pillar. That is like a tick. But you need a strong host to develop the talent. So this strong host must put all these disciplines in place, which are able to be strong, to be patient, to be understanding, and to take whatever hit you can get through the way. And I express a marathon as a rose flower. It is very beautiful on top, and everybody goes to the top, but nobody wants to touch the stem because it's full of thorns. That is the marathon you have to go through to get to the very beautiful flower on top, and that can take you anything from 4 years to most of your life.
Now, most people, because we see even international runners coming to, say, LD area, for example, but you, on the other hand, went to Japan. What did you benefit there that you feel at the time you couldn't benefit here?
Number one, you see, when you have a negative thrown, a peer pressure thrown on you that you're not good enough, you look for a different direction to achieve the same goal. And it does not mean that everybody who trains in E10 wins a gold medal. So there are very few of them who win gold medals or break world records. So what is the other bunch do? So there are only a few engines and a lot of bogies. Okay? So for me, I got an opportunity, I got a coach, I got full sponsorship, I have kit, I have everything I needed. So all I needed to do is to chase my dream. And I think for me, it just was another way of proving that you really don't have to train at a high altitude. Because there are two types of athletes. One athlete is the one who runs in winter, and the other one is the one who is strong in summer. Occasionally, you will get both in both seasons. An athlete who does well in winter and as well as in summer. But for myself, I was a good athlete in summer because I'm big, and for running world records was a bit hard for me. But coming to the championships, because if you look at 87 was a summer event, 88 was a summer event. London was the only one I did in almost winter. Then Commonwealth was summer, and the World Cup was summer. So that is where now I perfected and I understood myself. I said, this is my line, and this is what I have to focus on.
At some point, we were afraid that you were going to become a Japanese citizen. That never crossed your mind.
No. I look back and at some point when you are so passionate about your country, you do not lose that identity. There could be some benefits that people get by changing nationalities. But once you have ran for your country, to change that, you become a very different person. Responsibility changes, trust changes, so a lot of things are online. And mind you, there's a million youths who are looking at me, want to be like me. Then why do I really have to change and say,
change nationalities?
What I have done so far, I cannot equivalent to quantify it in any value. It is just valueless. You can just not. I'm here, I have gotten a few awards, which I really appreciate, and if I would have changed my nationality, those awards probably would not have come.
Probably. But what are your views on those who do change nationalities? Because nowadays we see so many athletes doing it, but for me, I kind of understand it, especially because there's so many good Kenyan athletes in certain disciplines that you wouldn't even make it to certain competitions if you were to run as a Kenyan.
I wouldn't want to look at it that way because, as I said, in this country we have so much potential. But the opportunity spaces that are there are very few. So when a potential athlete doesn't get an opportunity, what happens? You just go elsewhere. And I believe they have the right to do so until the day we will learn as a country to accommodate all these potentials and give them an equal opportunity. Because even those who are running in Uganda, I think they are just our guys.
Yeah.
And the reason why they went there is because probably they were never allowed to be in the team.
In the team.
If they were given an opportunity to come to the team, probably would not have had that. You see, so it is us now, we have to learn as a country and accommodate all those with, no matter how many they are our children. You cannot be a mother and say, I can only accommodate 10 while I have 100 of them. No, you must accommodate all 100.
But there are limited spaces, say, for example, for Olympics that you take, is it, I think, 3 athletes? I remember a post that David Rudisha put up a couple of years ago when he was captain of the Kenya team, and he was saying there were more than 400 athletes who made qualifying time, but we were taking about 80.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is that I think each and every athlete who wants to represent this country has pride that he's going to run for Kenya. Let that person try at whatever level he or she is going to try. Let that person go through the system. If he doesn't make it, it's fine, but he has given an opportunity. He or she has been given an opportunity.
Do you think perhaps in some cases athletics has become very financial as opposed to, I mean, I was watching a BBC documentary the other day on YouTube, and one athlete was being interviewed in Eldoret, and you're saying, I'm seeing this as a way out for my family. I want to build my mother a house. So it's no longer about the pride of running for Kenya. It's about this could be a lucrative job for me.
Definitely that is one. Unfortunately for us as pioneers, we never went through that because the patriotic races that we've done are more than the commercial races. And but you, as I said, you cannot deny them because the world of sport is changing. It's becoming more commercialized. And if you look at me now, like I've done almost over 30 years. I'm lucky, one of the luckiest to have gotten the order of the
we're coming to that to boast about it.
You see? So what I'm saying is that if you look at the recognition that the country should award the athlete, it is not the ministry which is probably to look at that. I think it's the federation that needs to create departments for recognition so that every year we have all these sports awards that we do. Why then we don't do that nationally and get all those others, so that it gives value, so that when you're running for your country, you are able to understand. Like, you know, the other day the road is on there, so once you get those kind of recommendation, I think we'll see the change of attitude for athletes.
Because these have no value. This is not, they're valueless. Not of no value. You can't put a value on them.
Yes, they are valueless, but they are just decoration.
You can't put a value.
You can't sell it. Yes. You know, it can't sustain your life. It is there just the pride that for the country that the country won. And one other area I think we also need to look at is that most of us win gold medals. This gold medal comes with a diploma. You find the gold is accepted nationally. It does score, but the diploma does not score. So again, we must go back in education wise and say, if this particular athlete has been representing this country for sure and has won this award for this country, then we should also see how this person can score. Either go back to school with a shorter time and graduate so that he is able, or he or she is able to continue the knowledge and coach or do something else to sustain his or her life.
I want to know your views on the fact that Kenya, we seem to be focused on a certain area when it comes to athletics. It's the Rift Valley area, and that is where 90% of our athletes come from. And you can't tell me there's no talent in the rest of the country, but there are dots of athletes that come from other parts of the country. what do you think should be done to make athletics more national?
From my end, I think what I would like to first understand is what is the population of athletes in every county. Let us look at the population. And if you look at Iten, they have maybe 2 tracks, the Lorna Kiplagat one and the Kipchoge one, which are functional. Those are the only 2 facilities they have. Of course, they have a lot of training camps around, which are not standardized and certified training camps, most of them. But they create an environment for athletes to come together. Now, when you go back, like for example, if you ask me, I would make Kasarani a national training center. Not center, a national training center, so that we now look at the population of every athlete in every county. Then those who qualify at least have some time to come to the national training center and learn 1 or 2 things. If it's about coaches, they can also come there and get their certification levels upgraded or whatever is happening. And I think then when they are sent back to their areas, we'll be able to standardize all the data. But we definitely need to look at, because I believe everywhere in this country, if you go, you'll find a talent. There has to be a talent. It is just probably either the structure, there are no coaches, and that has to be spread equally within, from the federation level, to see that now that Iten has developed itself, can we now focus on these other areas? Or what are the regional chairmen are not doing to implement what is supposed to be done, so that they can produce the athletes like this other country that we can see about 90% are athletes here.
So because I would like to see long distance runners from different areas of the country. What do you think about the fact that we also still focus a lot on long distance running? And it's only recently that we've seen someone like Ferdinand Omanyala taking up the short distances, and all of a sudden we're like, Allah, kumbe, we can actually do more than just marathons and 1500 going up.
If you look at our time when we were running, we had very good sprinters, superb sprinters. Then the road race had no money. So, as you had said earlier, that it is a profession, and I know that if I focus on road racing, I'm going to earn money that is going to help my family, take my kids to school. Why should I concentrate on sprinting? That it is so tight for me even to enter. Let's say, for example, if I want to enter Diamond League as a sprinter, what are my chances? So I better run 800, I go to 3,000, 1,500, and then of course I go to road racing, because I know road racing I'll make at least $2,000 or $3,000 every race. So the fact that when we say, it's not that we don't have sprinters, but it is the life direction that athletes have seen. Instead of focusing on sprinting that doesn't pay, let us focus on road racing, because that's where money is. If you talk about now, like
it's an easy entry.
Running New York, you have $353,000. So why should I go and sprint? You see, those are the equations. And if I can make to go to New York, I'm sure I'll be in the top 10. I can miss at least $10,000. So, I mean, unless the day that sprinting will get money, equally the same as road racing, and then we have good structures. We have a few athletes exceptional, like we have Faith. She has come very well from the track all the way up to now. Probably she will graduate to the road racing. We have Obiri also has done very well, and of course our very able Eliud has been very disciplined from climbing the ladder the way it's supposed to be. And that is one of the disciplines that athletes should have. Even myself, I started at 3,500 meters, no 1,500 meters. I came to 5,000 meters, I came to 10,000 meters, 21, now I'm in the marathon, which now give me all the qualities on the track and on the road.
But now, given when you see what, say, Omanyala is doing, would you advise athletes now, try your hand in that?
The sprinting has a lot of potential compared to the road racing. The road racing is very, very competitive. Because like now when Eliud does under 2 hours, so all the records now come up. So here you are 19 years old and you want to be a marathon runner. So actually, where are you going to start? You see. So for me, I think if I was a youth, I would look at sprinting as a much easier entry compared to the road racing. Yeah? Because road racing, you'll have really to look for those we shall go races fast, you just run so that you
build yourself,
come up on a
qualify.
By the time you reach the main now, get in an Elliot now, probably would have won number 100.
And probably you don't even have the body, because like you said, you're considered big for a marathon runner.
Yeah.
You're considered big, and depending on how your body is, maybe athletes should be thinking, let me try the shorter races. Because I need strength, I need
as I said earlier, number one, you must understand that. As I said, the host is just a host, is a pillar with a tick. So this tick is depending on the host's strength. So as an athlete, you must first know your weakness, you develop your strength, you develop your discipline, you develop your stamina. Whatever negativity you have, you create, you get a coach who can give you good direction, and you follow those timelines, because everything happens within the time. There is nothing which will happen before your time. You can train as hard as you want, but when the time has not come, you will just be finishing or just start the race, but you'll not get to there. But when your time comes and you're right there, you'll hit the goal.
I want us to take a short break, Douglas. When we come back, I want to talk about you getting into coaching. At some point, you had your own marathon here on Langata Road, and I know you're heavily involved in a lot of charity work. So I want to know more about what you're doing now when we come back. So guys, I hope you're enjoying this discussion with Douglas Wakiihuri, former world champion, 1987 world champion. We'll see you after the break.
It's Betika's 6th anniversary. Hatupigi sherehe siku moja tu au siku 6 pekee. Tunapiga sherehe for 6 weeks. 6 weeks of sherehe. 6 weeks of Betika. Na tunapeana 6 mili kila wiki. 6 million kila wiki. Kabisa. Mili kila siku kutoka Monday hadi Sato. Check out our social media pages every day at 6 a.m. to find out how you can win and join the celebrations. Celebration starts on Monday 18th April and goes on till the end of the season. Betika, jukwaa la mabingwa.
Thanks for staying with Radull Live. Guys, we'll get back to the conversation in just a bit. A reminder that Betika has just turned 6. So there's 6 weeks of Betika, and what's happening is that every day from Monday to Saturday, you can win 1 million shillings on betika.com. Just go to the website or go to the app at 6 a.m. every morning, and you'll find out how you can stand a chance of winning 1 million shillings every day from Monday through Saturday for the next 6 weeks. So happy 6th birthday to Betika. Now, I also need to remind you that James Kagambi, aka KG, is already on his way up Mount Everest. We had him here a few weeks ago, and he was telling us about mountaineering as a sport. He is making his way to the summit of Mount Everest in an all-black crew. And by the way, go to his social media. He's sharing his moments every step of the way. And it's pretty exciting to see a Kenyan, a native Kenyan, achieve that feat. Hopefully, he does manage to do it. All courtesy of Betika Na community. So back to the conversation with Douglas Wakiihuri. Incidentally, have you ever climbed a mountain?
I've done Kilimanjaro and also Mount Kenya.
Same
But
as
I
me.
didn't get Batian to Batian.
Batian is hard.
Yes,
Batian, you need to be a proper climber.
And then you see now, one of the issues we have is when we get warm, we start sweating now, engine and done. So by the time you get there, it's all frozen.
You know, we are runners, so as now when we get warm, naturally we just start sweating, so it's becoming a bit, but we've done it, yeah.
Kenya and Kilimanjaro, it
Yeah.
was not easy at all.
But it feels nice to be on the roof of Africa.
Actually, it feels very nice.
Yeah.
I have photos to prove that I got there. Kagambi is actually trying to summit Mount Everest. First native Kenyan.
I saw that, and I think he has been working on that for quite some time. Yeah.
At
Which is
62 years
super,
old.
Super. We'll get there. We're still behind you.
We're still my youth.
The next thing is
To the
Climbing.
conversation, Douglas Wakiihuri, of long distance running and your career. Right now, I know you've gone into coaching. You studied to be a coach and you coach a team. Explain your journey in coaching.
I have been coaching in different levels, and basically day to day I have the Fast Coach Running Club, which I have about 90 members.
Coaching coaches.
No, just normal runners as recreational runners, and it's based on WhatsApp. So basically, you run over the week, and our theme is if you don't post it, you've not run. So we meet on Saturday, and we run, and we have a small breakfast to discuss issues into whether you have an injury on that. So that's one. Then I also have another team at Lavington, which is called FCRC, but 162. That is another team that we started. I started training with them 2019 because when COVID hit, basically we were not supposed to be out, so we used to run 5:30 in the morning. By 7 o'clock we are done. Everybody can do their own business. And last year, by May, end of May, they did their first 42 kilometers, which was really, really brilliant. They did it in almost 5 hours. 5 hours plus, but it was such an interesting journey to see somebody who has never run in life. They are a bit senior members, but they took the challenge and each one of them finished at their own pace. And then I also have the Kibera Running Club. We have a school called Kibera 7 Kids. We have about 200 kids. We do feeding on Saturday. And of course, they get an opportunity to run with me, and they get to run with them. And I think 2011 we had one young guy called Kevin. He was adopted by a Dutch mom, and he used to train with us. As we speak now, he's in Netherlands representing Netherlands in athletics. So I think so that is the other one. And then of course now when we come to the highest level, I think one of the great coaching was coaching the First Lady of the Republic of Kenya. And let me tell you, it is a very, very hard task, because if you lose, you have no job in the world. If you lose it, you have nothing to do in the world, because everybody has seen it. It has been proven. So you have no job anywhere in this world.
I remember running with you at State House, Nairobi.
State House, yeah.
I think it was the first or second First Ladies Marathon.
Yeah.
And you were training her, and you took us media ladies for a run very early in the morning at State House. It was still dark. But it was a joyous experience. What was it like training the First Lady, especially to run in London? And she managed it.
First,
London
I think the dream and the Beyond Zero campaign that she wanted to actualize was quite a very good challenge at that particular time in First Lady's life, to impact on all Kenyans. And the distribution of the mobile clinics was not as such a big deal, other than that training starting from scratch. There's a time we used to run 2 kilometers in 45 minutes.
Wow.
And then we are still hoping that we are going to do the next 40 in time. But basically what happened is that we put the team together and the spirits were very high. And I believe that I as a coach also learned that you do not ignore anyone who wishes to do something. Just encourage, be there for that particular person. And of course, yeah, when we went to London, I think it was the greatest moment that somewhere in maybe the State House, the medal is hanging somewhere.
It was fantastic. The First Lady finished the London Marathon. Fine, it was about 7-8 hours, but she finished.
No, it was 7 hours and 28 minutes.
7 hours, 28 minutes.
Yes, we
but
did it.
She finished.
Yeah, she finished. That was excellent. I think that was the heaviest weight I felt off my back just when we crossed the finish line.
You still had a job. I confess, and please don't shout at me, I have never run a marathon. I've done half marathon at Lewa. I've never done a marathon. So maybe you can train me at some point. We'll see.
No, the day you'll get the spirit, just let me know. Because it's just like addictive like any other thing. Most people start with 5 and they say, no, I just want to do 5 maybe because the friends have taken me through. Then you get to 5, then the story continues. Oh, us, we did 10. So now you are left behind talking about 5. You come to 10. They have gone to 21. So that is basically how it drags you pole until now. When you do the first 21, you cast the whole world, you go crazy, but then you just become the crazy and say, now I need to get to the maximum.
I did 21. I think it was in almost 3 hours at Lewa.
No.
And that I was fit. Now I'm not.
That's very okay.
Tell me about these medals that we're looking at here. Which one is this?
That is the.
And can you hold it?
This is the Order of the Rising Sun.
I want the cameraman to focus on these medals nicely.
This is the Order of the Rising Sun, Gold and Silver Race. This I was awarded by the Emperor of Japan.
Emperor of Japan.
Emperor of Japan.
So it's not even local?
Nope. It is across, east to east. So I think for me this medal is very special because it is one medal out of a million that you never dream about. But yeah, I've seen it.
As a Kenyan?
As a Kenyan, number one. We are only 4 of us who has it. Wangari Maathai was, I think, the first one. Dennis Awori, the Toyota MD, was the first one. Then Wangari Maathai. Then our able ambassador, Dr. Amina, as one. And as an athlete, I am the first one.
Fantastic.
Yes. So, I mean, it's a special medal. And some of these things that you do in life will always amount to this. It is not, you can't quantify it. You can buy it. You can only be commended. And you can't proclaim.
And Douglas Wakiihuri has one.
Yeah, and I think this is...
Put it back nicely. You don't want to mess these things up. Where? Then this one, I'll ask you to carry it up yourself.
This one is the Order of the Golden Warrior of Kenya. This one I was commended in December last year by His Excellency the President of the Republic.
I'm glad it's beginning to give athletes these awards. There's a time it was hard to find an athlete on that list.
No, I think that is also another area that we've been really looking into, because I think the issue should be from federations to have commendation departments, as we said, so that they can be forwarding the names in good time. Because whether we forward names or not, commendation will always go on.
Yeah.
They will not wait for no one. Unless the federations are not doing their right job to give the names in good timing and who are supposed to be commended, they can do their own internal vetting and get to know these people need ABCD or these athletes need to be commended. And I think that is what should happen.
Because the national government can't be in every area, every department. So
and even if
federations need to step up.
Yes, even if they want to commend a particular athlete, they will always ask the federations to give a name. So that is now when it's either too quickly or too short notice. But I think for me, way forward would be federations have commendation departments who can vet athletes over years, because for us, like athletics, we have a long line of athletes who have really done very well. And they're just sitting somewhere,
knows about.
Need to be seen, need to be commended and all that, yeah, or just even appreciated.
Tell me about the Sotokoto Marathon, which you were running for a couple of years. I think we almost partnered. I think, was it the first or the second one? I'm not sure.
I think it was the first one.
The first one.
Yes. Sotokoto is a magazine from Japan. It is basically an African name, West African name, but the Japanese kind of like the name. So they approached me in Japan and said,
what does it mean?
Wisdom under a tree.
Wisdom under a tree.
Yes.
Sotokoto.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's a West African, but adapted by a Japanese publisher. So they came and said, yeah, we want to organize. That was about 2007 when we had all those fracas in election. And that is the time we went to Kilimanjaro, came back, and then said 2009, we actualized it, and we had one at the KWS,
Yes,
which was the first event to be held in a national park. It was just super. And yes, it ran for a couple of years until the tsunami hit Japan. Then most of the sponsorship went down. And I said, yeah, I think we can call it a day and see what else I can come up with.
But what was the aim, and will you ever revive it?
I think I will not revive the Sotokoto, but I'm going to probably come up with maybe Douglas Wakiihuri run because of number one, the road itself. I think that is the way I need to move now onward. For a very long time, we as Kenyans have been using other companies' products. But it's a high time now I come back home, I create my own products and push.
Your own brand?
Yeah, we start pushing our own brands because that way it's easier for us to even support the young ones. Because a brand without the young ones probably doesn't go very far. Because these young ones are the ones become the future athlete, and you need to invest on them for them to even at least wear a brand. It is so sad that in this country we don't have a Eliud t-shirt, we don't have a Rudisha's t-shirt, my t-shirt. You know, you can't find it anywhere, even if you want to get one. And I think those are some of the things we need. We can find a portrait of every footballer in a supermarket, which goes for 100 shillings. Or we can't find for any athlete in this country, even young people. So what we are saying is that as much as we are embracing the foreign teams, can we also start embracing our own heroes? We have a museum, a super museum coming up at Uhuru Gardens, and I believe that will be a home whereby we as sports people can go there and read our history, see our pictures, see our clips, what happened, who was the first marathon runner, all that thing, so that the young generation can have that liveliness and closeness to us.
Actually, because a couple of years ago, I was in Barcelona, and Barcelona has a sports museum.
There you go.
And it just has all their sports people recognized in that museum. Yeah. And you spend hours then, you learn things you thought you knew, which you didn't. Yeah,
that's the same thing we need. And I believe if each and every county did the same, we would now know who was where. Because as we look at the history of this country, it has been a monopoly line of the championship. Because I believe that we evolved in different eras. And you cannot monopolize everything into one. So we need to categorize and say, if it was the 1500, who was the champion there? That is the person who pioneered. That's the history of that event. When you come to 5,000, when you come to 10,000, come to 21, come to marathon, that history has to be in place. We have a book that was done by, I think, Suzanne, the 10 great years of athletics. I don't know whether you've seen it. I think that is one brilliant article, but then it is quite pricey. For most of our athletes who are there. And I think we also need to go back to our senior athletes and just get a comment of them before some of them leave us. Just to hear. Just to hear who they are, because they are going to be forgotten. They are going to be forgotten. And there is nothing sad like when you're just being told that, oh, this guy was here and he has just left us. We start scrambling for information to get to know. And then it's a very short notice that so-and-so who was a pioneer is gone. That's it. While you can look back at the history, what did he do? He represented Kenya probably in 1954. And you're like, 1954? Did he even have shoes? No, they ran barefoot. How did they get there? They used the ship. That is the history you want to understand. How did they go? They went through Russia all the way, to where, things like that to get to
I remember last year, everybody kept saying Ferdinand Omanyala was going to become the first 100-meter athlete for Kenya at the Olympics, forgetting that, was it 1988, we had Joyce, what's she called, Joyce Odhiambo?
Yes, we
who
had
ran
that.
for women 100 meters at the
even
Olympics.
we had Antao.
We actually hosted Joyce on this show.
Those guys, Antao came from Mombasa, and so those are the history we are saying. Come sprinting, put all the guys who started sprinting in this country on the list. Let us understand and get the history right, because as much as we need, I think there are some communities which have done very well, and they have not been in the limelight.
You keep mentioning the road, and we've not discussed the road. 31st of March this year, Aerodrome Road, which is the one next to Nyayo Stadium, was renamed the Douglas Wakiihuri Road. How did that make you feel?
Feels appreciated, and of course, being almost in the city center is a very special place. And the funniest thing is that I was awarded this medal, Order of the Rising Sun, on June last year, 11th. It was on a Friday. The road was passed at the Senate on the 10th
of June last year.
Just before the next day I be awarded this medal. Yeah, the implementation
so it's only now that it's been implemented.
Yes, it has been taken some time. But nevertheless, I think it is just something to appreciate. And I think for the up and coming athletes is that they have a lot to do. They have a lot to hold for this country. They have to be patriotic. And if finances will come, But first duties first, for the love of your nation.
First and foremost, the money will come.
The money will always come. Yeah.
Do the groundwork, the money will come.
The money will always come. But you can have all the money in the world, but you'll never get your name on the road. Yeah.
Tell me about some of the charity work, because we were speaking earlier and you were saying that you have to take some, is it boots or shoes?
Yes.
Tell me about the charity work you're engaged in.
A lot of charity things, like when we used to do Sotokoto, we used to have a Japanese Olympian who is Takahashi Naoko. And she used to be our ambassador. She used to collect old shoes, brings them here, so we give in different schools and stuff like that. That happened in Kibera, in West, in Nyanza, and all that place. Actually, we even went to Mama Sarah Obama's place. We gave about 1,500 pairs of shoes, which feels good, but in the name of wanting to promote running. And apart from that, is that I have a Kibera 7 kids in Kibera school, which has about 200 children. Yeah, they have a meal, they have water, they get the education going on class 6. And on Saturday we have a feeding program, which we co-work with one of our Japanese friend, Mr. Ishikawa. He supports us, and yes, well wishes, whatever comes along. We have also the Kibera Running Club, which I used to coach every Sunday before COVID came in. So we're trying and see how we can come back again. Yeah.
Would you ever consider going for a position in Athletics Kenya?
Given the chance, yes, because I think I'm capable. I've done a number of projects here. I was assistant director for under 18, but protocol and hospitality. But I did logistics, bringing in the machines, offloading them and stuff. Then came under 20. I also got director of logistics, getting out all the machines and shipping all the stuff. And I think apart from that is one of the legacies that was left for the under 18 was the KU University running track. It was abandoned for some time, but when we came back during the under 20, I actually made sure that that track has been redone.
They upgraded the track.
They upgraded the track. It was marked, and I think we are seeing now them hosting the university games there, which is a very positive thing, and I think that's how things should be done. And yes, given an opportunity, why not?
You would go for that. I want want to see you there. Call me when you want to run. We'll join the campaign. Now, something people don't know about you is that you're also a musician. You shared a YouTube link with me the other day, and I was like, Allah, Douglas can sing. Okay, how does that come about? Man of all
Okay,
talents.
music has been in my background because my structure is running first, music second, and then food comes third.
Food?
Yes, that is how my structure is.
By food, you say you're a chef?
No, like things that I have to do.
Oh.
First is running, second is music, third
is food.
Yes. That is my structure for a very long time ago. So all these races that I've ever ran, music was very close to me until now when I cleared the running university. Then I had to figure out what to do. So 2008, I started composing, and I started getting into music without going to music school. 2005, I went to Japan. I debuted in my music and did some live shows in Japan.
You did live shows?
Yes, I did live shows. Actually, I did a live show during the World Championship in 2007 in Osaka. I was the main entertainer during the World IAAF member something party or something.
I was the main entertainer.
But the song you shared on YouTube is very nice.
Thank you.
It's very, and you've done it in English and in Japanese.
It is in Japanese, English, and Kiswahili. That is the path. I started music 2000, but it has taken me some time to get the right path where I feel I fit. But now I figured out that that is my path. So equally in Japan, it has raised quite good marks. Japanese people have embraced it. And I think,
don't know.
And I think that's the way. It's actually on most of the music platforms. You'll find it. It's called "When I'm Missing You," and "When I'm Missing You" is very different because we argue when we are sitting like this, and you say, "No, I don't know. You are not there. I was there. I don't know where you are." But when you're gone, is when now you realize. You say, "No, I want to tell you ABC, but you're not there." So. When I'm Missing You is that it has come an era of Corona, and Corona has taken a lot of good loved people, good loved ones, you know, and that is the moment when it hits you, and that is one of the reasons why it trickled in Japan, and Japan realized it just could be a very simple love song, but then it has a deep meaning when your loved one is not there.
You don't know what you have till it's gone.
Till it's gone, yeah.
So don't let it get to that. Appreciate what you have when you have it.
Yeah, you know, people struggle to send flowers to your body. You know, just come and talk to me. Say, Douglas, you know, when I'm gone, I'll not know. You know, so just enjoy when you are with me here and what we can do. That is probably one of the best moments in life.
What are your views, finally, as we wind up? What are your views on the current athletes and what they're achieving now? What are your views on Eliud Kipchoge and the landmark he's making, some of the female athletes finally being recognized?
I think it's very special for this Kenya, for this country, that almost every race that we run, we just have to have Kenyans. We just finished Boston the other day, and it was superb execution. And I believe that we need to find a way to get our athletes into the best sports in this country, being it entertainment, being it ambassadors to work with the local companies, because we have so much value when we go out to represent this country, but locally we are yet to develop that value. It is not just about recognizing an athlete because of that particular achievement. It is recognizing this country, and even basically more of it saying thank you to the athletes because of work done. We get allowances that are being given, and we a few things are done. But let me tell you, when you stop running, for an athlete is a huge, huge challenge because you've been active for almost over 10 years. You cannot go and sit there and say now because you are awarded something or because you are recognized, you need to be put somewhere. And one of the areas that probably we should work better, we have all the embassies in the world, for Kenyan embassy in the world. Why can't we then develop a position for sports ambassadorship and then the athletes can be awarded and get to turn around. For example, we have other countries in Africa that would want to know what Kenya is doing. In athletics, they would want to listen to Kenyan athletes. Why can't we be sending these athletes who have retired so at least they don't get bored at home and find something to do? Because we cannot all fit at the Athletics Kenya office. And
so as much as you're a patriot and you run for the love of your country, it has to pay you.
That's it.
It has to pay.
And
because you don't expect donations, get something to do.
Get a position. And so that you can also be able, because we can still work, we can still run, even if we are rusted, but we are still able to be active. And we have the knowledge that unfortunately is not documented. It's just within our minds. So we need to share that knowledge with the rest of the world. You imagine if we had a national sports center here, how many coaches would come to want to understand why Kenyans run the way we are? So I think those are some of the opportunities that has to be. Branding also has to be done. Let us have our merchandise on the bookshelves, let's say the young Kenyans purchase if every Kenyan can buy a t-shirt worth 500 shillings, we are over 50 million people. That money is enough to assist the upcoming,
athletes,
the present, and the past athletes.
We need to, I see Eliud, I think because the level at which he's performed, he's managed more or less by Nike. So he's got that whole package and branding done. Unfortunately, we can't afford his merchandise because it's sold under Nike.
Yes.
I had to buy a pair of shoes in Dubai, though, 40,000 shillings. I'm like, okay, not today. But that's because it's being managed by Nike. But we can still do that at a Kenya scale.
Yes, we can do that. Well, there are all these factories we have. NYS has a very good clothing factory. Some of us as athletes are able to do branding. Why can't then we be allowed to go there and get it? Like Kitui, I know they have a factory. So EPZ, we want to integrate into this business. How can we do that? That can create jobs in other, people who are below us. We can help more young up-and-coming because you do not expect a 15-year-old to go to the shop and buy a Nike shoe to run with because Eliud had worn it. It just can't work. You can buy one, but you cannot buy for the next 5 years. So we are saying if that happens, then we'll create a market. And sports itself is a business. It has not gotten into business. We need to run it as a business so that each and every particular person gets a piece of that cake.
Hey, Douglas Wakiihuri, world champion at 23 years old. Long distance runner, coach, musician, everything, Douglas. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. Congratulations for putting Kenya on the athletics map way back in the 80s before we even knew it. And we'll keep talking after this.
Thank you
I still need to be trained for a marathon.
Anytime you feel you're okay, just let me know.
I can't afford to pay you what maybe State House paid you. I don't know.
No, I don't even need money. I'll wait you win the fat race, then I'll ask my percentage.
After I win?
Yes.
We'll do it. Guys, thank you so much. Thanks for watching Radull Live. Put your comments down, by the way. Douglas will, I'll forward them to him so that he can read and respond to them.
Super.
And I wish you all the best.
Super.
Keep me updated on your career.
And
go on YouTube, Douglas Wakiihuri, you'll find his song somewhere.
I think one of the things that I have never said is that I want to just thank you all the Kenyans for the support over years because, because of you guys, we are who we are today. You cheered us, you gave us courage, you had hope with us, you had faith on us that when we go there to represent you, we are definitely going to win. And I know some of them have been named after me, which is still a good thing.
I'm sure in Bondo, if I check nicely, there's a Wakiihuri. But thank you so much. Thanks for coming on Radull Live. And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you again next week.